What's up, YouTube? Maple sugaring season is upon us once again in Southwest Michigan, and today I'm going to be putting in my maple taps. So I got all the equipment that I need here to put in my taps. I'm expecting to do about 15 to 18 taps this year, and I think that's about as much as I can handle with also working full-time. So let's go ahead and let's get these installed in the trees and see if the sap is flowing. We've got a good stretch of weather coming up. I think starting tomorrow it's supposed to be in the 40s and even getting up into the 50s towards the end of the weekend, and it's going to be freezing at night. So perfect freeze thaw cycle, and the trees should be loving that. All right, let's get into it. I have two different styles of spiles that I'm going to be using again this year. I have the stainless steel spile, and I will be using those to fill my bags, 4-gallon bags. And then I have 5 spiles that are a smaller diameter plastic spile, and I have buckets to go along with those. I used both of them last year, and I did a video last year describing the advantages and disadvantages of each one. I think they both work great, so I'm going to be using both of them again this year. So what I want to do is I want to locate last year's hole, and I want to go 6 to 8 inches at least over from that, and at least 12 inches vertically in either direction away from it to allow last year's hole to heal over properly. So last year's hole is right there, so I'm eyeing up a spot right over here on the tree that I think is going to be just fine for us to go ahead and drill at a slight upward angle with the 7/16 drill bit. And I have this marked, as you can see, at the 1 3/4 inch mark. For this diameter of spile, the 1 3/4 inch depth is what you need. For the other one, I have that drill bit marked at the 1 1/2 inch mark. I'll just get all the wood chips cleaned out of that hole. Make sure it's nice and clean and free of debris before we tap this spile in there. I usually get them as clean as I can with the drill bit, and then I just give them a little puff of air with my mouth. And then we will put that in there and tap it in with a hammer. You don't want to go too much and split the tree, but if you go too little, I kind of go until you could hear a little bit of a tone difference. Once you start to hear a little bit of a tone difference, I think it's pretty well seated at that point. So now let me go ahead and get the bag set up, and we'll hang the bag here. It doesn't look like the tree's running too much today, but come tomorrow, this thing should be running pretty good, I expect. All right, so we put the bag through this ring here, kind of fold it out and around. Want to have a couple inches overlap over this ring. And then we will insert that into the holder here. So about like so, and then all right, so we have a little bit of overhang there, which is exactly what we want, and we have that retention feature in there, and then we just go ahead and pull that down, make sure it's nice and seated in place. There's a hole right there that just hangs directly onto the spile, and a little piece of bark that's interfering with that. Actually, this is a pretty barky tree, but if you can see inside of there, we're lined up good. So all that sap should go directly into the bag once it starts to run. For this other style, we have the plastic bucket with lid and the plastic spile that has a hanging hook on it. For this style of spile, I have a 5/16 drill bit marked at 1 1/2 inches. I've located last year's tap hole on the tree, and I will be going approximately right here. So found a good spot. I'm just going to drill at a slight upward angle, just like we did on the last one, till I hit my mark. Then I'm going to back on out of there and get that hole cleaned out. You want to get as much of the debris out of there as you can. That way you don't plug up your tap. So I will put that in there. I'm going to grab the hammer, and we will just tap that in. Like so. This should be nice and secure. I did have one of these plastic ones last year that I did have to re-tap in a little bit after I had initially installed it. So I will go just a little bit more on those than what I did last year. And this just has a metal retainer there that we slide out and put through there. And then the bucket has a hole right there that just hangs on the hook. And there we go, voila. So let me replicate this process about another 15 times before it gets dark here, and then we'll go ahead and we'll wrap up. But I'm super excited for maple syrup season. I always have a good time doing this. This year I built a reverse osmosis system, so I'm really hoping to save myself a lot of time and a lot of wood, and really looking forward to the season. So let's get the rest of these taps in before it gets dark. That first tree that we tapped wasn't running very much, but this one here does have a slight drip. It's a little bit more in the sun than the other tree. So like I said, I think tomorrow these trees are going to be running really good. We're going to have like at least a 6-day stretch that is going to have a really good freeze thaw cycle. This big old silver maple here produced a lot of sap last year. I only put 2 taps in it. I probably could have did quite a few more, but yeah, I tapped into that one and it's already starting to flow. I'm just going to use my finger here and clean out a little bit of that wood pulp that ended up out of there. But yeah, this one is going to be a producer. It was last year, and I have every reason to believe it will be this year as well. There we go. Make sure that that's good. Make sure that it's all lined up, and I can already see it dripping into my bag. Awesome. We have a beautiful sunset. I'm losing daylight pretty quick, and I have just a few more taps that I need to get in. So few more trees to go, and then I think how we'll wrap this video up is I'm actually going to be getting out of work a little bit early tomorrow, hopefully early afternoon. So when I get out of work, we'll check the taps and we'll see how it's running. I think tomorrow's supposed to be in the mid to upper 40s, so it should be a pretty good run starting tomorrow. So let me get these last few taps in and we'll check them on out. All right, it's the next day. It's early afternoon here. It's about probably 41 degrees, give or take a degree. And this tap looks like it's got a pretty steady drip to it. Getting to be a good amount of sap there in the bottom of the bucket. Gonna go check on one of the bags and see how some of the other trees are doing. We're out here at my tried and true silver maple, and there is some sap in the bottom of this bag here. It's got a slow drip. I was looking at it, and it's not dripping as quick as the other bucket that we had just checked, but we do have some flow. So I'm expecting by the end of the weekend that most of the trees will be woken up. The weather is just looking absolutely beautiful. We have an awesomely sunny day out here today. Couldn't ask for better weather. So looking forward to this, looking forward to being able to run that evaporator and the reverse osmosis system and to really get this maple season underway. So stay tuned for more maple syrup content, and if you enjoyed this video, please remember to hit the like button and consider becoming a subscriber to the channel. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks.